On this episode of the John1911 Podcast, the Hudson H9 is dead, the original Galil is back, the Winchester 350 buzz, and is Franklin Armory even a real company? Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Marky and Freeze, and this is episode 122 of the John1911 Podcast. How was your long-ass night at work, Freeze?
Yeah, it was long.
Yeah, you sounded tired. You warned me you were very tired today, and we'll do this one. We'll do this one fairly quickly. We won't blast on this one too much. It's Friday, so it is SHOT Show week is over today. So when I used to work SHOT, by about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, it's supposed to go to 5, but it was, Friday was always a weird day. Friday morning would be busy, but then once you got afternoon, people were flying out, and that's where a lot of the vendors start making deals with other vendors, and it was always kind of a weird day. So that is today at SHOT Show this week. It's Friday. Aren't you glad you're not there?
Oh yeah, I am so glad I'm not there.
You know what? You did okay. Years ago, we went to the NRA show in Dallas?
Houston.
Was that Houston?
I'm pretty sure it was Houston. I don't know. I've been to so many NRA shows over the years.
I don't think that was Houston, because Houston is so big, and I remember this town wasn't that big.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you were nice to people. You did good. Nobody had to spray you with a water bottle. Bad kitty, get back. Don't pee on that.
I don't remember if it was Houston or wherever. That we'll just say Texas. I don't know if it was Texas. I've been to a couple shows in Louisville, Kentucky, but I totally offended the Blazer guy down there.
God, I know you did. We're standing there, we're talking to the Blazer, because I'm like a total Blazer fanboy, and it's like, hey, yeah, pay attention to us. We're big Blazer people, and we're in the U.S., and that's rare. And of course, you're not a Blazer person. And Kevin Wister's standing there, and I can't remember what you said. I was just like,
he's going on and on and on about how awesome the Blazer rifle is, and and what he said didn't it wasn't without merit, but he's doing his job, and after he went through his long diatribe, I looked at him and I said, yeah, but now you have to convince the American hunter they need to spend $8,000 to $10,000 on a hunting rifle. And you could just see his world crumble.
I wouldn't crumble, but he's used to it. They're so used to it. The Blazer booth is never the busy booth. You know what I mean? It's a pretty rarefied area.
No, it's just like a small niche corner of the SIG booth.
No, you forgot this. When you were at the NRA show, the Blazer guy was over by himself. He was not connected. He wasn't. They weren't connected to SIG, and they're obviously related corporate wise, but no, they were not. They did not share booth space. SIG was a big booth, and they're real popular and real busy, and all kinds of stuff going on. And Blazer was like way over on the other side, like the less busy section.
Yeah, it must have been a different show than we're talking about.
And unless you know what, dude, I've been to so many shows, I could be transposing them myself. So yeah, it's very possible. So very, very, very possible. So I'm going to talk about this first because it's a hot topic, I guess, in the media, but I'd kind of figured it out on my own, and I guess it's now become a thing. The Hudson pistol, the Hudson H9, and that whole thing. I noticed. Look, was I eager to run out and get one of these guns? No, but eventually we're going to get one for the reference collection because we've stated our case. We don't have to reiterate it, but we want to support an American gun company, and kind of waiting for the maybe the over MSRP sticker price to come down on some of these a little bit. And I've been looking around, and I noticed AIM started blowing a few of them out, and then I noticed you're seeing more and more of these guns around. So I was like, well, maybe it's time to pay attention to the Hudson again. And I started realizing all these people are like, yeah, I sent you my gun or my money, and this is my second repair, and this is broken. I need parts. I have a $1,200 brick. And like, if you look at their social media, it looks like they basically ghosted sometime in end of November. And I was like, this doesn't, because they're pretty social media savvy. You know what I mean? They spent a lot of money on their social media stuff before they even actually had a product out. And I was like, oh, this isn't good. What's going on here? It turns out I actually, it was reported. Let me find where is it? Here we go. It's been grumbled and reported that Hudson has apparently got into a lawsuit with a single source vendor. I don't know what the part is, but apparently it was 10,000 units, and they were, according to Hudson, whatever this part was, and it could have been an extractor, it could have been a major component, or it could have been a screw, who knows. But it was 10,000 units, and I think it was the total that they owed this company was $384,730.
Yeah.
And so they basically told the company, we're going to have to work on this. We need to, remake these. We're having issues. These aren't the spec. And we warned you. And apparently, instead of working with Hudson, this company sued Hudson. They turned around and just sued them. And so apparently there's a Hudson booth at the SHOT Show that's abandoned. It's empty. 2809, and people keep sending photographs of it. So it looks like now Recoil Magazine, I'm going to read part of this statement, reached out to Hudson, and Hudson gave an update, and it was the most interaction I've seen from Hudson in 2 months on social media. So here is basically what they said. To our customers and friends, sorry we couldn't be there, but even in our absence, apparently we are still a highlight of the SHOT Show 19. I'm going to go ahead and skip that. If you don't have money to ship people's warranty guns home, then you shouldn't spend money to go to a show. So they're admitting they have money problems, and they're not getting it done, and they've said it publicly. Here we go. This is interesting too. Hudson Manufacturing is currently working to raise capital and resolve a matter with a critical single source supplier that has affected many of our warranty customers and our relationships within the industry. We attempted to resolve the issue professionally and notified said supplier of their impact on Hudson both financially and reputationally. They decided to sue us instead of work to resolve the issue. We will not disclose further information at this time due to a non-disclosure agreement in place. Let's see here. The other important things. They're talking about raising capital. Here we go. Many equity buyers look for companies selling cheaply made products at 4 or 5 times their cost. Hudson's strategy included heavy upfront investment to build value in the company, a brand, and a differentiated product family before expecting to see significant equity returns 10 years after the formation of the company. A tough sell for owners whose focus is not a quality product for the consumer. Here's the critical statement. Our primary funding option that was scheduled to close in fourth quarter 2018 did not occur, which would be about November of 2018. You see it coming. Like, here's the thing. If you're getting funding in fourth quarter of 2018, you're not getting funding on December 30th, fourth quarter. You're getting it, the first, closer to the front end to wrap up the year or reset for the new year. We continue to speak with capital groups and interested equity parties. This is all the information we can give at this time. If you know an interested party, this is critical right here. If you know an interested party who truly believes in quality American manufacturing, then this is parentheses, not manufacturing overseas and stamping made in the USA on it, we would like to help realize what is in store for the platform. Please have them email sales@hudsonmanufacturing.com with thoughts on an offer or a request for an NDA. We have considered crowdfunding the effort, but there are very few online crowdfunding platforms available that allow for firearms. Then it's the sign the owner, Cy and Lauren Hudson. So they're in huge trouble. This company is imploded.
It's what it sounds like.
I mean, here's the thing. Look, I understand the first part. I understand equity funding, and I understand, trying to, make all this work. But if you got to stand out there with a cup in a public statement about your company in a Recoil magazine article, that means they don't have any options.
Yeah.
They're not talking to anybody real. Now, you and I have to speak very obliquely right now because I want to run an idea by you. Because I saw this last night and I haven't told anybody yet. And I'm popping off at the mouth here. I'm curious what the numbers are. And I'm curious how on the whole they are. And I'm curious if there would be an investment opportunity for us in this. That would probably be a mistake, but I am curious.
Yeah, it'd be a big mistake. Look, way back when Hudson first came out, we talked about this, and I wish them well, and I truly, truly wish they would make it, but this is kind of the path I kind of figured it would take. I mean, it's hard to do what they were trying to do is very, very hard.
Yes. Especially since they don't have any money.
Yeah.
They just don't have any money. And, you got to have money to make money in this kind of situation.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, here's the thing. So, let me look at this from a vulture point of view. And this isn't what I was thinking. But you know what? I'm gonna look. If you and I are gonna talk money, and we have to speak very obliquely here. What does Hudson have of value? They have a full set of patents on this gun. That has value. They could sell that. However, depending on how the owner structure and ownership of the company is set up, if there's if a bankruptcy court or this goes into receivership of some kind, that's not going to be sellable until it's all litigated. So it's tied up. But, I think realistically, if we weren't gun people and we were just being financial people, we would say, take your intellectual property, your IP, and think about selling it to somebody. And see if another gun company would want to pick this gun up and maybe manufacture it. I don't know. I mean, it depends on how much in the hole they're. I mean, here's the thing. They're going to spend a year. Let's say they get a bunch of money. It depends on how much in the hole they are. I mean, if it's like millions and millions, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's better ways to get an investment over a 10-year period than to put millions into this just to maybe start making a little money 10 years from now. I mean, there's just no way we'd even consider that. But So now let's back off of that and let's talk reference collection for John 1911 in the Armory. We're no longer having that oblique conversation. I would like a Hudson pistol for the collection. I guess now the real question is, do I buy one off Gunbroker for $800, or do I wait until they show up for $300 on CDNN's website? And that is harsh. That is harsh, and I cringe to even think that the Hudson people would hear me say that. But I would be embarrassed if they did hear me say that. But it's the truth. If this company's going to collapse, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. My personal opinion would be to wait. I think there's too much crap going on with Hudson right now to invest that kind of money into a reference gun. I don't think it's a good move. I mean, if you're going to drop $800, $1,000, $1,200, whatever, I'm sure you can get one for probably $800 or $900. Hell, there might be a bunch of guys out there that need their gun fixed that would give you a hell of a deal.
But you know what? Think about this. We've gone from an oblique conversation referencing hundreds and thousands or maybe $1 million to now we're debating $800. I mean, if that isn't a vicious, ear-popping swing in conversation about Hudson, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Think about that. I did from what I've been able to tell from sniffing around on Hudson, the two things that people seem to have issues with their guns, I guess they had some problem with their mag release button, which, again, you and I know this, that is not that big of a deal. That's something that, you could easily, one-off fix yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You could either, you can take the part out, add metal to it, depending on how it's made, and then shape it yourself or 3D print one, or take it to an 07, have a new part made. It would suck. You'd pay a lot of money. But, chances are that it's 90% there. Just, add or remove as needed. The second thing that people seem to be having problems with is the extractor or extraction. And I assume that would be the extractor.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take a look at a Hudson here real quick. So my question is, let me just do an image search. I have to see it. Their extractor it's like a Glock design. It's got there's good news and bad news. If we had to make a part, the good news is, it's probably easier to make a Glock extractor part than it is to make a 1911 style extractor, which is spring steel.
Mm-hmm.
The bad news is a 1911 style extractor, you can get anywhere and you can get tons of them. And if that was the basis of your extractor, we could add or remove from that or modify to make it work. So I'm confident enough in your ability to jerry rig an extractor if we were having extractor problems with the Hudson to keep it functioning for the reference collection. Ooh,
I have no doubt that we can make it work. I just don't necessarily know if it's worth going into a deep dive for that kind of money for something that's just going to be problems down the road. But then again, not every Hudson out there has a problem either. So
the counter to that argument would be that most people that own Hudsons don't shoot that much. So a lot of those guys,
you have a valid point there,
dude. I'm being real here.
Yeah,
I'm just being straight up real here. Most people that listen to us on this podcast, and I'll be charitable, I'll put it in a way that makes sense. They don't shoot as much as they would like to. And that's fair. They're not industry professionals. They're not SWAT officers. They're not special forces trigger pullers. They're not competitive shooters. They're gun enthusiasts. And most gun enthusiasts spend their money buying guns, not feeding guns.
Yeah.
So some guy who's had a Hudson for a year and he's like, I haven't had any problems with mine. Mine's been great. And he's got less than 1,000 rounds through it.
Yeah. No, you have a point there.
Yeah. But what if it's something worse? You know what? You're right. We'll have to wait because we'll have to figure out what the problem is. Now, I'm going to say something. It's embarrassing to say it, but if we're going to dance on the bodies of Hudson, I'm going to make a point. If you are a person that loved the 9mm low bore axis, high capacity, modern iteration of a combat handgun, and you're disappointed that the Hudson has gone away, take a look at the Steyr M9.
Man, that's pretty.
I mean, if you look at the Steyr pistols, if you even, they're goofy pistols. They're not really well known in the U.S. But if you look at them, they got a real skinny slide. They're angled high. You come real high. The trigger's low. And what they did, there's even like how the Hudson has that big, deep dust cover recoil spring area in front of the gun that kind of sets the rail low. If you look at a Steyr M,
it's very similar.
It's very similar. Now, I don't think the Steyr has the same recoil construction. Internally they're not the same gun, but if you're looking for that super low bore axis, high capacity 9mm gun.
No, the Steyr M9 is it's a pretty gun.
It's an interesting gun, and here's the thing: you can get for the price. Here's the thing: for the price of a Hudson H9 for sale right now for between $800 and $900, you can get a Steyr pistol for $450 all day. You can get two of them.
Well, see, that's the thing, I mean, it's crazy. But okay, let's just say across the board, you could get either or for 500 flat. And you had your pick. Say, do you want the Steyr or do you want the Hudson for 500? Man, I'd have to go with the Steyr all day long. Not that I don't think the Hudson's an interesting gun, and I really wish they would have had a better run at it, but at the end of the day, I have to go with Steyr over Hudson.
You know what? It depends on who you're talking to, because you are like, well, yeah. I mean, if you're like, hey, Marky, here's choose a Steyr or a Hudson, put it on your hip, and go out on the range and defend yourself. I'm taking the goddamn Steyr. But but here's the thing: from a reference collection standpoint, do you take a Steyr for $500 or a Hudson for $500? It's like, well, I'll take the Hudson for $500 and turn around and buy the Steyr for $450 and have them both, because that's how this shit works. Because it's not a matter of either or. And I've been looking at those Steyr guns for a while, because it's like, you know what, we need to get one of those before they disappear. And just by happenstance, I just happened to realize, man, you know what, that gun structurally is very similar to a Hudson.
Oh yeah, I mean, they have a very similar profile.
Now they don't have that 1911 feel, but
yeah,
I do know guys. Oddly enough, I think the Steyrs did have problems with extractors. Steyr had issues for years until they finally got it worked out on these guns, and I'm sure that's a coincidence. I'm sure if you know what, is there a physics axiom that the lower you make the bore axis on a pistol the more disruptive to your riboflavin quotient that it messes with your extractor. I think it's the riboflavin rule. So, all right. So anyway, we talked about it. Hudson is blowing up. I'm not going to spend $100 on a Hudson. We're going to wait until they show up somewhere and we'll pick one up. And we won't shoot it that much. And if it breaks, either you're going to fix it or Matt's going to fix it.
Exactly. I mean, we'll get one eventually. I just don't want to do a deep dive and pay a whole hell of a lot of money right now. I mean, you know.
Speaking of deep dives, an article has popped up on John. It's been busy for the blog this week. On John1911, you had a gun come in from somebody, and he's like, "Hey, my gun don't work. Can you make it work for me?" And you're like, "Bring it in." And it wasn't a hard fix for you. Like, very quickly you diagnosed it, but it was like, wow, didn't see that coming. So for someone that hasn't read the blog, give the 15-second snapshot of what happened here.
Okay. So guy brings me this rifle, and it's a build. He did not build it. The guy who brought me the rifle did not actually do the build. He bought it off of a guy. And he's like, when I got the gun, it ran fine. And now it doesn't run. And, and he's like, it won't eject. And, and he's telling me, I'm like, whatever, just bring it in. And, so I get it. The first thing I do when I crack it open, the buffer spring pops out because the buffer retention pin was missing. So I went ahead and fixed that. That's a 5-minute fix, no big deal. But that's not the problem, So, the first thing and there's pictures of the gun on the blog page, and it's a crazy gun. I mean, it's got
it's a weasel whacker.
Oh yeah, man. It's got a 24-inch fluted barrel. It's got the handguard on it's probably weighs 10 pounds. This thing's heavy as hell. Anyway, it's got a bipod on it, and all that stuff. So, I look over everything, look at the bolt carrier, and the bolt and everything, make sure everything's looking there. Cause that's the first place you kind of go to. And as I'm looking at the gas block, I look down and I notice there's a hole that goes right down into the barrel. And it's like, son of a bitch. So I start looking through the handguard, which is kind of a solid pipe type tube handguard, but there's some slots in it. And I noticed the gas tube, starts out on the top and then goes down to the bottom. And I'm like, bitch. So the gas block has a rail on it. And, and that's fine, especially when you have this type of a handguard. If you want to put a flashlight or a magnifier or any other type of accessory in front of your optics, you need that rail up there in the front. Well, the guy who got the gun went out and bought a nice bipod because the damn thing's too heavy to hold and fire. And he's like, well, there's a rail. So he just loosened up the gas block and flipped it 180 degrees, tightened it back up, put the bipod on, and now it's a single shot.
Yeah.
So, again, that was an easy fix. I took it all apart, took the gas block off, handguard off, checked out the gas tube to make sure it wasn't kinked or anything, and put it back together and spun it back around and went out, test fired it. So it's fine. I think I spent less than a half an hour on the thing total to get it running. So, because I was thinking, it could be a magazine issue, because I hadn't seen this gun fire, I'm just going by what he told me. So I'm thinking, okay, it could be a number of reasons why this gun doesn't run, and before I even, I was going to take it out and test fire it and find out what the problem was, see if it jams every time, see if it doesn't eject, but I didn't even actually have to, because as soon as I started inspecting it, I found the problem. And it's like, oh, okay.
It's a miracle he didn't break the gas tube.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. So, just an interesting story, look,
that's the kind of interesting things that pop up and come around, and it's real easy for everyone to get on social media and start, hammering the guy, and saying, oh, what an idiot and whatever. But look, this is a simple rookie mistake, because the truth is, if you go out there and pick 1,000 guys who have ARs and ask all 1,000 guys how a direct impingement system works, I guarantee you 80% of them won't have a fucking clue.
And the flip side to it as well, look, all these guns, if you're in the AR game, like all these guns today, like it's like the bolt action guns for like the PRS guns, the competitive bolt action guns that people make, and there's all these custom actions and these weird calibers and, all this stuff. And, I don't want to mention any particular brand because I don't want to slander or favor, but, they all act like that it's like 30 different guns and are all radically different. The truth is they're all the same. They're either Remington 700s or Winchester Model 70s. They're 95% Remington 700s. On the semi-automatic side, 95% of every gun out there is an AR-15. So if you've been dealing, even though you have all these different crazy guns and you think that you want to pretend that a Geisley gun's different than a Bushmaster gun, in the reality, it's not. They're the same goddamn gun. Mm-hmm. And so, it's easy for somebody who's up to their armpits in AR-15s that actually cares about the stuff to act all like this is so obvious. But, if you are not familiar with a gun and the concepts are totally new to you, like, and you have to look at a gun and you have to be like, well, how does this gun work? And that's something you and I deal with all the time in the reference collection, because they're weird guns. And what you have like, well, how does this work? And how does this part come out? And how does this? Oh, okay. This is a out of battery safety. And what's this? And none of this is like an AR-15. And so if you are someone that wants to whack a kid because he screwed up an AR-15, and yet you want somebody to give you a long leash to screw up all these other guns that are not real common, then you're kind of being a hypocrite. The AR-15 is not common. It's not understood to that kid. It's easy to get on the internet and pretend like you're so smart and, all this virtue signaling.
Everyone likes to play the gotcha game, but, the truth is, this guy has no clue how ARs run, and that's fine. And
it's a mistake.
Yeah. He's like, hey, I need a rail to put this bipod on. And well, I happen to have one. I just need to put it in the right spot.
Yeah. There's a rail 12 o'clock. Let's just rotate it to 6 o'clock.
Exactly.
And on a bolt action gun, you'll get away with that. So
exactly.
Hey, we were talking about this. I had sent you a listing by AIM Surplus. They had Galil parts kits in stock. Yeah. And I've been noticing these parts kits have been coming out, and the prices of everything have been dropping because there's been rumors for a couple months that I've detected, maybe longer, that, quote, somebody was going to start selling Galils again, the original Galils, and so it's been like somebody major was going to come out with them. And so that's why none of these parts kits are selling, because they don't know what the new market's going to be. And so I don't know if I told you this, but at SHOT Show this year, it looks like it's because they said it was a major company. It appears ATI is the company that bought up all the parts kits, and they're the ones doing. I think they're U.S. made receivers with all these Galil parts kits, and they're going to be. I don't think they're crazy expensive. So it'll be curious how they come in price wise relative to like the Century. Didn't they do a Golani Galil some years ago? They called it a Golani.
Yeah, actually they did.
So it'll be curious to see how this comes in because, we could buy a Galil parts kit, and then there's that company that makes the receivers. And then, we could buy that and build it. And it's like, for all the money you have into it, is it cheaper to just go ahead and buy an ATI if it runs?
It's probably cheaper to buy the ATI, but, that the price on that parts kit was pretty cheap. And honestly, even if you don't buy a receiver, I don't think it's a bad investment to jump on that parts kit, because that parts kit came, it came with the cut barrel, but they were also including a brand new barrel with it.
Oh, that's
right. That's what got me.
Let me go real quick and look.
That's what got me. I looked at the price and the fact that it included a new U.S. made barrel. It's like, oh man, that's a good deal.
They wanted, here we go. They're still showing in stock. IMI Israeli 5.56 Galil parts kit, $399. These rifle kits do not include a receiver. These rifle kits do not include receiver, obviously, bipod, okay, or magazine. The original barrel has been cut, but we are introducing a new American Tactical Phosphate 1 7 twist barrel. So for $399.
I'm telling you, with the new barrel, makes it a pretty damn good deal.
It's interesting. I'll have to do the numbers on it. We might do it because I know Matt was hot to build one of those for us. Let me make a note here.
Those receiver flats are not hard to.
No, he's done a ton of them. And there was something he was saying like, he was like, "Oh yeah, get the whatever kit we were looking at a few months ago," and he was talking about building a South African variant. He's like, I love those. Those are the best. And like, I can't remember even what it was. I can't remember what they're called. Oddly enough, we actually have readers in South Africa that read our blog on a regular basis. Because if I ever say or post anything that's incorrect, they immediately are in. They're like, yo, you got to change that. And it's like, where are you from, dude? He's like, I'm outside of Johannesburg. It's like, I was in the South African Defense Force. And it's like, okay, sorry. Okay. So they initially came at us, so they came at me because you don't ever answer email. They came at me all pissed off, but then they realized that I can take correction, and it was like, okay, all right, if that's we'll tweak it, we'll make it right. So yeah, but we have all kinds of people. So I didn't know if you would. Do you like Faxon Firearms?
Yeah.
Who do you like? Who do you like more, Faxon or Ruger? I'm doing this on purpose.
I have to throw my hat into the Ruger game just because of their wide variety of selection. I have a wider variety of different firearms to pick from, but like if I was going to pick, like, say, a Faxon AR over a Ruger AR, I'd take the Faxon.
Yeah. Well, apparently, I don't know if this. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if this is. Let me find it here. Has Ruger always had a custom shop?
Oh yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they have for years.
I did not know that because I saw something about guns for Ruger custom shop at SHOT. Say that 5 times without drinking enough caffeine. And I thought it was like, hey, Ruger's coming out with a custom shop. So
it's funny you mentioned Ruger, because last week I bought an AR lower for the 7.62 by 39 build, and I actually was looking at Ruger lowers, stripped lowers.
they sell them. I didn't know they sold them.
Um,
I'd buy Ruger strip lower all day. Their ability to cast and manufacture stuff is unmatched.
oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you why I didn't buy it. On the side of the receiver, I don't know if it's laser etched or acid etched or however it's etched in there. They have a freaking QR code etched into the receiver.
That's interesting.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't like that.
Everybody's been doing that on their if they have a plate. Like a lot, I noticed it some years ago. On like when the FNS first came out,
Mm-hmm.
and they were putting in the plates under the pick rails or inside the frames above the pick rail. They have a QR code, and I always thought it was for their military kind of accounting contract system because it's easier to control with QR codes, and unless you put RFID in them, which is even easier. But I don't think I've ever seen anybody put a QR code actually etching into something like that.
Yeah, and I opted out of it. I mean, I didn't like it. So I thought, well, yeah, I'll pass on it. But I thought real hard about buying that Ruger lower, and but I doubled down. Yeah. I mean, I was looking at all different lowers. I will not actually buy any Spikes tactical product.
It's too busy.
What's that?
Excuse me. It's too busy. It's got too much shit on it.
Exactly. Well, it's twofold. It's not that it's not a bad product. I mean, it's fine.
I didn't say bad product.
I
said it's got too much shit on it.
But I don't want spiders and zebra dicks and zombie faces and all this stupid unicorn crap. I don't like that shit, and I don't want it on my receiver. And I'm not going to pay $200 or $169.99 or $189.99 for a $50 fucking lower just because it's got a unicorn cock etched into the side of it. It's stupid. Oh, well, if you want to buy something that says Spikes Tactical, you got to pay an extra $100 over what it's actually really worth. Fuck that. I'm not doing it. I mean, if you're a brand whore and you go to the range when you shoot your 30 rounds a year that you shoot and you want to be able to flash it off and have everyone go, ooh, then that's cool. I'm not that guy.
H&K has done the same thing for years. That's a known marketing ploy. I mean, Apple does that. Apple charges more for their products. I mean, there is some built-in more price and stuff, but they do a brand ad to keep the value of their brand higher. And H&K, like there was all these H&K guys got all ass hurt because actually we'll talk about them. What's Gun Jesus' name?
Ian.
So Ian, or something like that. Yeah, Ian was at the H&K Gray Room, I think, and he was doing a bunch of videos out of there. And he did a series, or he did a video showcasing a bunch of the H&K P7 squeeze cocker guns, which I think are interesting, mechanically interesting, but they're terrible. They're terrible guns, actually. And
they're terrible to shoot. I've shot one before. They're terrible to shoot, but I tell you what, I like the gun.
They're neat guns, but they're not a real gun for like real heavy use. So anyway, he was talking, and he accidentally stepped on all their dicks because what happened was, and I wasn't aware of this specifically because I didn't pay attention to H&K back in 1985 or whenever this was. But they initially brought the P7 pistol into the U.S. and they tried to price it competitively to everybody else. And it was within striking distance of like a Glock at the time. And maybe it wasn't that successful because it's such a weird gun. So H&K decided we're going to raise our prices and be more exclusive. So, but like the H&K guys don't even want to admit that, you know, that happened. It's like they rewrite history. You know, it's like, oh, no, H&K because.
So you say H&K guys are Democrats?
Yeah. So, you know, how long until Insane Clown Posse becomes blackface? We'll just leave it at that. We're not going to touch that. We're going to get out of it. So anyway, you know, charging more money for your product because Apple or H&K or Spikes, I guess. I don't know Spikes.
Like I said before, that's fine. But that's not for me.
Yeah, so and I understand that. So I'll tell you what, there's a bunch of other stuff that's come out of SHOT. I want to run through some of this real quick. It's going to be interesting. Do you remember Franklin Armory?
Yes.
And they had the gun. We talked about this gun on the pod, and it was the Reformation? What was it called?
Yeah, I think that is the name of it.
It was the gun that shot, everyone calls it the shuttlecock. It's a gun that shot the things that they weren't bullets. They looked like Nerf footballs or like Nerf rockets.
Nerf darts.
Yeah, you got grandkids. And, you know, and it's like, so it's not a rifle, so it's not an SBR and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And we had talked about it, but we had talked about it on the podcast, but we had talked about it objectively. And we had talked about it like, I would like this to work. I'm curious, you know, like.
If I remember correctly, the thing is they were only getting like 18 MOA at 100 yards.
Now you're being a dick. It wasn't 18. It was, I think their MOA, I think their published MOA was 3 or 4 at 100.
Yeah, it was bad, though.
But here's the thing: at 100 yards, you know, if you're running around a car blasting, it's a short, a combat gun around vehicles. It's interesting. I mean, look, it's boutiquey, but it's interesting. And we did not shit on the gun. No one's seen the gun, but I was like, this could be interesting. I would be interested in knowing more. Yes. Would you like to know more? Yes, I would. They fucking reached out to us and kind of ran me in circles for about a week and a half or 2 weeks, basically wasting my time just because they weren't happy that we dared question anything. And we weren't negative about it. And it was like, it really put a sour taste in my mouth. It was like, what the hell is this? Why are you people bothering me? You know, like, why do you care about us? I'm telling that story to tell this story. So SHOT Show 2019. I don't know if you've seen this, Freeze. They have a new gun. It's an AR-15 looking gun. They're claiming, so it used to be the other gun, the Reformation was not an SBR, okay? Because it wasn't a rifle. This gun is an AR-15 looking gun, but it's not a semi-automatic. And there's video of it cycling. They don't show it shooting, and I think it's airsoft or air compressed or something because there's no smoke or anything. I don't know what they're doing, or unless it's what it could be is it could be a double action gun that's got a fixed firing pin, possibly, that when you pull the trigger, it runs the bolt back and then it breaks and drops forward and fires, kind of like a hammer on a double action revolver. But here's so you know, because they released a little teaser video, dun dun dun, you know, coming to invade the planet near you, and then everybody's like, first of all, where's the other goddamn gun? They haven't sold this other gun, this other product. Maybe they didn't sell it because they didn't have enough orders to manufacture it. Maybe they didn't sell it because the ATF said if you do, you're going to prison. But here's the thing. It just disappeared. And it was this creepy, weird rollout. And it kind of was like interesting, but it ultimately they didn't deliver it, so it felt like a bait and switch. They are doing the same goddamn thing again this year. They're doing this weird, creepy, oblique rollout with this gun that's not a semi-automatic, which, look, objectively, it's like, that's really interesting. First of all, you know, the non-SBR reformation is interesting. It's, you know, smart. And look, even though I wasn't against, I just didn't pay attention to the SIG brace. It's
Yeah.
not a stock, it's a brace thing.
Mhm.
That has revolutionized the industry. You know,
Oh
look,
yeah,
all these people in New York or California could use a rifle that's, quote, not a semi-automatic. Do I think that should replace everything we've got? No, but I love people that stick it to the man. But here's the problem. They're being creepy shitty the way they've always been. And so apparently Gun Jesus and his buddy, they run those two channels. They apparently went to the Franklin Armory booth at SHOT Show to look at this gun.
Yeah.
They told them, we are not allowed to talk to you and you can't film here.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes.
Dude,
It's
that tells me their product is shit.
it's like, I mean, you know, look, maybe that, I don't know if that tells me their product is shit. What that actually tells me is that they are petty little bitches. That's what that tells me. They are petty little bitches. Because the truth is, just like Hudson, you're going to put a product out there, or you're going to write an article, or you're going to be in the public eye, somebody's going to kick you in the balls, and you have to have the intestinal fortitude to take it. You can't be picking fights with everybody out there, because if you're picking fights all the time, you're never going to get anything done. You're going to be too busy fighting with people. You know, how dare you, you know, question me or say something bad about my product or me or whatever we did. It's like, what in the fuck is, I mean, that just tells me that these people just run the fuck away from them.
Well, again, it also tells me that their product is shit. It really does. Because if you get a guy, look, and I'm not saying Ian is the end all beat all of gun personalities on the internet, but he does have a huge following. And if you're afraid, because look, okay, if I have a new product and I'm at SHOT Show and I think it's innovative and Ian and his buddy shows up, I'm like, come on in. Bring your camera.
Kind of the point of SHOT Show.
Exactly. That's the exact point of SHOT Show, you know? But if you sit there and say, oh man, I don't really want Gun Jesus filming our shit and we don't want anyone talking to them, that tells me that they don't have enough confidence in their product. And that means their product is shit.
Or it's even worse, and I'm going to go there. They have such character flaws as people that you probably can't even deal with them. And who's going to buy a gun from somebody you can't deal with?
Well, that's true too.
I mean, seriously, it's like that's crazy. Because look, let's be real. This isn't 1955. It's not 1975. Okay, you don't need to go to SHOT Show to place an order for a wholesale buy. We have the internet. You see what I mean? It used to be we have to go to the trades, because if you don't go to the trades, if you don't advertise in the trade magazines and go to the trade shows, you're never going to get picked up to the wholesalers to be able to have your whatever widget you're making to get out there. No one's ever going to know you exist.
You're 100% right. I mean, you could even go as far as to say that the SHOT Show is actually an antiquated format.
It is.
It's not needed. It's not needed at all.
Yeah, I mean, the SHOT Show it used to be, I would say, 80% for buyers and then 20% media. And I would say right now, realistically, it's probably, I bet you it's 60% media, 40% buyers. Because it allows here's the thing. Look, let me put it this way. You don't like SHOT Show. Look, I used to work SHOT Show. Like, I used to work the damn thing. And, you know, it's worth going to. It's an experience. It's like doing anything else in life. You know, you should go and do it. But the reality is 80% of the people that are walking around SHOT Show, 80% of the people walking around SHOT Show don't fucking need to be there. They're in everybody's way.
I agree with that. Who was the guy that used to wear the 2 watches? They used to roam around SHOT Show.
Don't you dare say, I know who it is. Don't you dare say his name. Don't you dare say his name, because I don't want to edit this shit out. But that guy is still around, I believe. Yes.
But see, he's a guy who has no business at SHOT Show. But look, I will say this about the SHOT Show. It's a damn good place to meet and greet people in the industry. It really is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. And see, that's the thing. It used to be an industry thing, but now everybody's coming and, you know, to, you know, bring their buddies and their this and their that. And you know, all that.
That's a social event. It's
a social event. Like a lot of these companies, they go and, let's be honest, there's a lot of drunk fucking going on at SHOT Show. You know, there's parties and all this shit going on. And
there's a lot of after parties.
Yeah. And it's just like, you know, if you're not a cool kid and you're not slinging around millions of dollars and you're not interested in going to a bunch of parties and seeing half-naked chicks, it's like, you know, you don't really have to be there. You don't really have to be there.
No.
But, you know, if you're going to show up there, and probably the most, I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I'm gonna say this is true. I would say that Ian is the most at this moment in time, is the most respected firearms media property / personality in the industry today.
I don't disagree with that at all.
And if he shows up, because the magazines aren't running the show, the magazines are failing. It's the social media guys, and Ian is number one. He's the most respected.
Print media's dead.
Yeah, and he shows up at your booth and you throw his shit out, you are a goddamn idiot.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I've got a booth at SHOT Show, I want Ian there, dude. Seriously, I mean, I'm ecstatic that he's showing interest in my junk.
Well, you know what? Let me put it in political terms. It's a difference this is a difference between Donald Trump and Jeb Bush. All right. If Jeb Bush is somewhere and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, shows up and she wants to have a, you know, like I said, impromptu debate on the steps of the Capitol building or in some public place about, you know, our political positions back and forth, Jeb Bush runs from that. AOC shows up and steps in front of Donald Trump. He's ready to go. And in today's society, in today's marketing, and in today's business, if you show up at SHOT Show and you can't even stand to have these people in next to you, you need to get out of the game.
Yeah.
You're just Jeb Bush. Go back to Florida or wherever you guys are from. It's crazy. It's crazy.
No, that's insane.
So you know what? Let's talk about something cool that I don't think you've heard of this. And it seems bullshitty because the tactical guys don't even care about this. Winchester has come out with a new caliber, and it's got a bullshit name, and it's probably a bullshit kind of caliber size. But when I describe to you what it is, you're going to be like, wait a minute. It's called the Winchester 350 Legend. Have you heard about this?
No.
Let me give me a second. This is going to be for all the non-tactical people. Here we go. Let me see here. Make sure I get it right. So I guess it's a 35 caliber, which is interesting.
Well, that would make sense.
It's interesting.
35 caliber is not a bad caliber, by the way.
Yeah, especially in like a heavy rifle caliber. They are showing rounds in 150 grain extreme soft points, 145 grain full metal jacket target ammo, and 180 grain PowerPoint. PowerPoint's a brand. Here's like, okay, who needs a 35 caliber, whatever bullet, and all this, what's the point, dude? It's a straight wall. Let me answer the question, because you don't know yet. It's a straight wall case. The silence is very interesting. Do you remember? Oh, let me tell you this one. Let me specify, because you know the answer. If it's a straight wall case, guess what else it is? It's rimless. Or, rebated rim.
Yeah.
So let me explain what this means to the listener. If you're a tactical guy and you don't know what this means. In the hunting world, in particular, there's a lot of states that have restrictions on hunting with centerfire rifles, or they have restrictions on hunting with higher powered rifles, and you will see them slowly start to lower their restrictions, and they'll do things like Ohio does this. Ohio used to be shotgun or pistol caliber only, but now they've said you can hunt with a straight wall case. So 4570 is legal in Ohio. I think Indiana started lowering the threshold too. You could do some center fire and some whatever caliber. They're doing some weird stuff too. But this is a straight wall case. But here's
if you're a 30-30 or a 300 blackout kind of hunting guy, this just kicked their ass.
Because here's the thing. Why don't you see 4570 in an AR-15? Why don't you see 4570 in a lot of bolt action rifles? Because the goddamn rim. That rim is so big, it causes huge feeding problems. Why don't you see a 4570 in the R8 and the Blaser guns? Because it'd have to be a single shot. Because you're never going to get that. You get such bad rim lock, you never get it to load. It'd break the rims or it would lock. This is a straight-walled 35 caliber, new manufactured, rebated rimless cartridge.
Nice.
This could be huge in certain circles.
I'm going to have to look it up and look at ballistics and that on it, because actually I'm real interested in that.
Somebody had made, I just sent you a thing on it. Somebody, if you're in front of your computer, somebody sent, and you're on a podcast, so you should be, or you might not be, but, so let me see here. Here's some statistics. Ballistics indicate the new Legend to have significantly more energy than both the 300 Blackout and the 30-30 Winchester, with less recoil than both the 30-30 and the 243. How is that possible? It has less recoil than a 243. The tight-lipped folks over at Winchester claim to have taken several dozen deer during testing, none making it farther than 30 yards. Then there's XPR, which is a loading fort, are available in a variety of finishes. But these shown off in yesterday on the range were black synthetic. While the caliber fires with low felt recoil and was punching out bullseyes at 200 yards, we thoroughly enjoyed firing one of the suppressed XPRs in 350 Legend. Though there were no subsonic loads, the full metal jackets performed very well, and the recoil felt comparable to a 243 or less. Both rifles and ammunition were slated to be shipping begin mid to late first quarter 2019 at prices on par with XPR rifles of already existing calibers. Here's the thing. I have debated having a 300 blackout barrel for, like, say, the Blazer. Because it's like, well, but what am I going to do with that? Dude, Blazer's got to pick this up, because this is a hunting round that you can load hot and go heavy with it, or you can load light and go fast with it, or you can download it and go subsonic with it.
Check this out.
This could be interesting.
So I just pulled up an article on it, different than the one you sent me.
Yeah.
And it says the 350 features a .223 diameter head on a straight-walled casing in a .357 caliber bullet. It will be available in 145 grain full metal jacket for target shooting, 150 grain extreme point bullet for deer hunting, and 180 grain power point. It will work in a variety of platforms from both bolt action and AR style rifles.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Whoa. This is based off a 223 case?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
That tells me this thing will load in regular standard AR mags. You can load this thing in P mags.
Well, the thing is, it's a straight wall. It probably won't feed as well. But, oh my God, dude. I question where this will... Dude. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? This is
a 300 blackout killer.
This is the Elmer Fudd answer to the 300 blackout. This is fuck you tactical. Fudd's back on the scene. Some guy out there that we don't know who he is. He's wearing a plaid. He's wearing a plaid shirt right now, going fuck all you bitches. This is awesome, dude. It's in 223. It's a 223 case.
Yep.
Are you 100% sure on that?
That's what the article said, and this is coming out of SHOT Show from military.com.
Dude, I'm going to reach out to Scott, because Scott's at SHOT Show, or he was. I'm going to see if he saw this either at SHOT Show or at the Safari Club.
Okay.
I'm going to ask him about it.
Dude, this could seriously be a game changer.
This is a game changer. But here's the thing. I have been debating, because we're waiting for some suppressors to show up.
Yeah.
And we don't have a 35 caliber we don't have a 35 or 338 or 50 caliber suppressor in the pipeline, because I've been wanting to hold off because I basically was like, I didn't want to have a suppressor that was going to cover all the stuff down low, because it wouldn't be good. So I basically put an artificial line and said, we'll get a suppressor that handles 338 and 50 and covers them both, because when we do a 50 in the future, because we'll do some kind of 50, and
Sure.
It's like, okay, this is going to be it, dude. This is incredible. I did not know this was a 223 case, because it's a big piece, because 223 looks a lot bigger as a straight wall case. When you look at it, you're like, that's 223. The shell, with a shell case length of 1.71 inches. Does Indiana still have the overall limit, or they get rid of that? Remember before they changed their calibers?
I think they still do.
Okay, because they had all these like 35 Hoosier or something. I wonder if this would count as a 35 Hoosier, or whatever that Hoosier caliber round was.
358 Hoosier. Or
358
like
Hoosier. Well, here's the thing, dude. I wonder if this would be a 358 Hoosier. If this technically would. I mean, if it falls in the same thing.
The 358 Hoosier is basically loaded up, if I'm correct, on like cut down 308 cases or something like that.
Yeah. You know what? I think you're right.
But
because they're not blowing up a 223 case, but they'll cut back a case. Anybody can cut back a case.
Oh yeah. I think I'm going to keep my eye on this. I'm very interested in this. I like it. It
is interesting. It's very interesting. So I'm glad you appreciate it. So,
I'm looking at it from from a hunting point of view. I like it.
Oh, dude, I'm looking at it from a hunting point of view, from a suppressed point of view.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I like this. I was like, this is interesting. This is really interesting. So, okay, you know what? We've done enough SHOT Show. We've gone way long here, and you have to get to bed because you've been up all night. I'm gonna give the I'm gonna give the one crime story because we have to do something funny or crime at the end of our podcast. Dude, this was hilarious. I mean, it's not hilarious if you think it's real, you go through it. But I thought this was hilarious. So there's people out there that have they call them Nest cameras. They're basically internet cameras throughout their house or their property, and they have microphones and speakers in them because you'll see that. Hey, you get out of my house.
Yeah.
Get away from my door. You'll see that. Various companies sell these types of product.
Yeah, there's like a doorbell button and stuff like that.
And they've got them like in their houses, like, hey, get out of my house. It's a two-way communication. So somebody, I'm not going to say who the brand was, but somebody had a Nest camera system on their property and they're in their house. And all of a sudden it starts broadcasting that this is from the National Command Authority. There's a missile warning launch from the DPRK. This is not a drill. These people lost their shit. They thought they were getting nuked, and they thought somehow Donald Trump had told the CIA to hack into everybody's stuff to tell everybody, run for your basement. I was like, and just like they're reporting this as like, oh yeah, I think this was maybe some nation state or some high-level hacker that did whatever. It's like, fuck you. Goddamn 12-year-old, 4 doors down, did this. Fuck you. This is not the goddamn GRU that did this. This is Ray in his basement when he's not playing PUBG is fucking with you, and it's awesome.
That is funny.
I thought that was hilarious. So I like a hack that's got a little humor to it. So, all right. Well, this wraps up episode 122 of the John1911 Podcast. If you want to see pictures of the stuff we talked about, or maybe the guns that Breeze is fixing, go to our blog page. That's john1911.com, JOHN1911.com. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. Everybody, have a good day.
See you later.